Top of the day to my beautiful people. This is a day that the Lord has made. We ought to rejoice and be glad in it. Our text for today is Genesis chapter 1 and verse 1 that says, "In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth." You know, this single verse is foundational to the entire Bible. It introduces who God is, what He did, and how everything began. In the beginning. This phrase speaks of the start of time itself. Before this moment, there was no measure of time, no physical universe. Time begins with God's creative act. This connects with the Gospel of John in John chapter 1 and verse 1, which says, "In the beginning was the Word." And I believe John intentionally echoes Genesis to show that Christ existed before creation. It also aligned with the book of Hebrews 11:3, which tells us the world were framed by the word of God. This point, God existed before the beginning. He is eternal. So in the beginning, God. The Hebrew word used here for God is Elohim. It is plural in form but used with a singular verb. This hints at the fullness and the majesty of God. Many Christians see here an early glimpse of the Trinity in Genesis 1:26, where God says, "Let us make man." This verse does not attempt to prove God exists. It assumes it. The Bible begins with God, not with argument. So in the beginning, God, and what God did, God created. The Hebrew word for created is bara. And only God can bara. Humanity cannot. We cannot create anything. We cannot bring anything into existence. It is used exclusively of God's activity. It means to create, not merely to shape or reform, but to bring into existence. This is reinforced by the book of Psalms 33 verse 6, which says, "By the word of the Lord were the heavens made." And Colossians 1:16 that says, "For by Him were all things created." Creation is an international sovereign act of God. So God created the heaven and the earth. But who can deny that? Because when you look around you, all you can see is the creative act of God. And all we can do is to praise Him